Today, honeys, we're going to talk about what readers do. At the beginning of the school year, we began working on what readers do by listening to voices. Do you remember those speech bubbles that are underneath the window in the classroom? You got to kind of picture that in your mind. It's been a while. Well, when you read, you will hear 4 different voices. Can you think what those voices are? Let me give you a chance to think. I'll give you a hint. The first voice is the voice you should hear all day long, every day. It's the one that loves you the most, that voice. You guessed it. It's God's voice. God is speaking to you, sweeties, even when you read. So be careful and listen to his voice. He's going to help you so much. And of course, we also have another voice, the opposite of one that loves us very much, and it is the That's right, the distracting voice. The voice that tells us, well, you don't need to read, or you don't listen to yourself read. Think about some other things. That is an annoying voice, and it does not want you to read. Well, then there are 2 others. Let's think. If I'm reading, then I'm going to hear something, especially if I read out loud. That's my reading voice. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Our reading voice is obviously very important. And then the last one, which is kind of the hardest and the trickiest, it's what's inside your mind as you read. It's your thinking voice. You got it. So our thinking voice is important as well. Let's take a look at each one of these voices, starting with the most important. Our God talks to us. He speaks to us, and we need to listen. When you read, honeys, please listen for God's voice. He will teach you what is good for you and what is bad too in your reading. Everything you do, including reading, hear God's voice before any others. It reminds me of a text. I'm making a text connection. You know, the Bible verse we've talked about in class. It goes like this. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Think about such things. Philippians 4:8. Well, there's a voice in your head that doesn't want you to be thinking excellent thoughts. It wants to distract you from learning. That distracting voice is coming from our enemy. We have an enemy. He doesn't want us to read. He knows that you will learn the Word of God. Remember when Jesus defeated Satan with Bible verses? You can too. Be wise. The distracting voice in your head wants to keep you from learning. Take a quick look at this picture. Which kid is listening to the distracting voice? Which kid is not learning to read? That's him. Well, sweeties, we're going to learn to get rid of our distracting voice so that we can learn. Let's talk about our reading voice. Well, this sounds more complicated than it is. It's nothing more than the voice you hear when you're reading. Your reading voice are the words you say. If you're reading out loud, you will hear your own voice with your ears. If you're reading silently, you will hear your own voice in your mind. Reading voice is the words you read. Simple stuff. Now, what's going on when your voice is in your head and you begin to think? Sweeties, your brains can do more than one thing at a time. Do you know how when we are in the school building and I say to you, we're on a carpeted area, your voices should be off. That's right. Well, this is a voice you should always keep on, your thinking voice. This is the voice that never should be turned off. You see, because good readers are thinkers. Look at this young lady. She just was reading, and now her mind is filled with thoughts. She is thinking about what she has read. These 4 voices will help you learn to be a better reader. Wow, look at all that he is doing while he's reading. It is so wonderful to have the blessing of reading. We're going to talk more about how you can use each one of these voices to become better readers.